midst of soccer games, ballet recitals, naps, doctor's appointments, to carve out 3 or 4 hours of your afternoon and come to the State House to make a statement. But we've done that today. We've done that because we're concerned about our children. We're concerned about their privacy and about their safety. Now, we've been using those terms a lot on this legislation because they are very real and practical concerns. If this bill is passed, Senate Bill 735, or in the House, Bill 4253, men, for example, can use the women's bathrooms, locker rooms, or other changing facilities without any documentation or other medical treatment that says they identify as female. Basically, if they say they identify as female, they can violate the private space that has been reserved for our wives, our mothers, and our daughters. And so we are concerned about that privacy. We're also concerned about safety, because any man, regardless of whether they have a gender expression issue, can take advantage of this type of law and go into what should be a safe place for women and children. And the women in there, if they protest or object or try to prevent that man from entering the bathroom, they would be subject to criminal penalties. That is how outrageous this bill is. Now, I personally watched 2 weeks ago with grave disappointment the shameful and offensive way some of our senators completely dismissed these very real concerns, and how they even treated their fellow senators who tried to add even a modicum of protection. But we know that people do not want this type of legislation. A national poll released just last week has reported that a majority of Americans oppose bathroom policies similar to that are contained in Senate Bill 735 and House Bill 4253. That poll also showed, not surprisingly, that an even stronger majority of parents with school-aged children oppose cross-gender bathroom usage. So we've brought many of those parents to the State House today. Now, unfortunately, I know parents who have voiced their concern over legislation like this, who are disparaged and condemned by advocates of this bill. I have also been myself. And in the past several weeks, I've heard from numerous mothers and fathers who are intimidated into silence about this issue by transgender activists and left-wing legislators who attempt to bully and shame people into conformity with their radical and extreme agenda. But I'm proud to stand here today and tell you that we will not be silenced. We've come with a large gathering of parents and children to speak up loud and clear for our rights, for privacy and safety, and for the rights of our children. We would be abdicating our roles as mothers and fathers if we did any less. So I want to introduce to you now a mother of 4 children, an educator, an artist, who will speak to you as a mother. Ashley King.
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley. I'm a worker, an educator, and a mother of 4. I cannot imagine living in the Commonwealth and having the threat of being thrown into jail or fined if I decide to tell a biological man to get out of the bathroom that my daughter is using. Look at what is going on in North Carolina and across the country. Those of us that hold to traditional values as basic as biological women being women and biological men being men are being threatened with jail time, fines, and dubbed bigots and discriminating haters because we happen to believe that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. The most basic human right being violated here is privacy. As the mother of 4 young children, I will not just stand there and let a man go into the same bathroom that my daughter just went in. Those on the other side of this issue may think that I'm overreacting or accusing people with gender identity issues as being violent or wanting to take advantage of young girls. That's a separate concern. My concern is that any man can wake up one morning, claim that he feels like a girl, and have the lawful right to enter a girl's bathroom without any kind of doctor's notice. This law leaves an incredible amount of space for manipulation and and is a slippery slope for all kinds of threats to our children. Do you understand that teenage girls, and even younger, will now have to accept that teenage boys can use the same shower and locker facilities, and the teenage boy has no requirement to gain a doctor's note of his decision? As the bill is currently written, all you moms out there will be fined or even thrown in jail if you decide to go into that bathroom and tell that biological boy to leave your daughter's locker room. Is that really what you want for your daughters or yourselves? Also, my family and I are active members of our church. Places of worship will not be protected from this law. The Massachusetts Attorney General, who recently told women like me to just hold it if we are uncomfortable being exposed to naked men in a public restroom, lists houses of worship as public accommodations. So what about religious liberty? If this bill passes, it won't be long until churches are forced to make their bathrooms gender neutral or face fines and penalties. This is a direct attack on our religious liberty. It will be a crime for you and your pastor or priest to prevent a biological man from using the women's room in your very own church. This bill is not about a man wanting to express himself as a woman. This bill is seeking to force me, my children, and my church to subject ourselves to that man's decision or go to jail. Wake up, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The loss of your freedom and religious liberty is on your doorstep. Your silence will mean complicity. Join me as we stand for the basic human right of privacy. Thank you.
Introduce a father, also of 4 children, I think all under 7, which is incredible, right here in Boston, Justin Dawes.
Thank you, good afternoon. My name is Justin, and I live in Boston, Massachusetts with my wife and 4 children. I appreciate the time you've allowed me to speak today with you, especially as I perceive so much misunderstanding on both sides of this issue of public and very personal concern, as was said just earlier. I'm grateful for the patience you've demonstrated to listen to both sides of this issue. First, let me say that I don't have the practical answers to what has become a significant unbalance in our culture. This question about the right to use the public facilities of my choice, of my preference, for reasons of privacy and security, is a question with a seemingly simple answer, depending on who you ask. With such confidently held opinions on both sides, it seems plain to me that the real issue here is not about our individual rights to a public facility. It's not really about bathrooms. Transgenderism is an issue we as a society have not fully understood or shared any clarity for reasons both morally and politically. It is presumptive, and I believe careless, to pass legislation then, and I fear, most of all for my transgender neighbors, as a result of this bill and others like it. It is not responsible, nor is it loving to encourage hurting, I believe confused people, to commit to this unreal path, a self-perceived gender misidentity. My strongest opposition to this bill lies in the way that this legislation strengthens not love, not tolerance, not harmony, but rather confusion, self-deceit, and turmoil for those adrift in a stormy sea where morals and facts are relative, and every choice is either equally noble or equally abominable. The only thing really wrong we might wish to say is believing that something else is wrong. This view, I think, is closer to the heart of the problem. We can and must do better than this. As mankind, we bear a responsibility toward a higher call, a higher standard, and I pray that God helps us to see that and to strive for it together. The affirmation that we seek as individuals, the love and respect, the peace and security we long for, can only be found in seeking to reflect the glory of a Creator who doesn't make mistakes. Please do not misunderstand me. As a husband, I'm concerned about the safety and privacy of my wife. I'm concerned about the security and innocence of my children, my daughters, and my sons. And this bill does more to threaten their well-being than protect it. I appreciate and respect the need for my transgender neighbors to feel secure as well. The way this bill exposes and endangers my family is unacceptable. This cannot be the solution. But with no fixed fact as a reference point, what is normal, what is acceptable, fair, and just is merely a matter of preference. And our society is subjugated to those preferences. This piece of legislation shines no clarity on the facts, but rather dangerously endorses a shading of moral truth. Additionally, it is a threat to my family's security and privacy and yours. For that reason, I and my family oppose it. Going forward, I would hope for answers from our legislators to two questions. One, this bill, what standard of normalcy, what standard of morality does it encourage and enforce? And two, what assurance of protection does this legislation offer all citizens, families included? Thank you.
Talking about our children. We have our children's best interests on our hearts and minds. So it is my pleasure now to introduce to you one of these children that we're concerned so much about. A wonderful young woman, just 12 years old, who has the courage to speak to you today about her perspective on this bill, Summer Stubblebine.
My name is Summer Stubblebine, and I'm 12 years old. Although I'm not old enough to vote, and I certainly cannot afford to fund anyone's next campaign, I do hope that my voice is heard. When I first heard about the transgender bathroom bill, I have to admit that I started to laugh. I thought it was a joke. I mean, the fact that I have to march all the way down to Boston, to the State House, to plead with a room full of adults not to let boys into the girls' bathroom is just shocking. I always thought that laws were created to protect us. I mean, grown-ups are actually suggesting that this is okay. For boys to change in the girls' locker room if they wake up one day and feel like being a girl. Does this mean that I can come to school next week and feel like being a cat and demand that litter boxes be placed in all of the middle school bathrooms? What happened to science, to reality, and to truth? It doesn't take rocket science to tell you that boys and girls are different. Protecting modesty and privacy is a common sense right that even a kindergartner could argue for. I heard a ridiculous news reporter say, "What difference does it make? After all, bathrooms have stalls." Well, let me tell you, Mr. News Reporter, that bathroom stalls have cracks in them, and I really don't want a boy peeking in at me when I'm going to the bathroom. Nor do I want him listening to me go to the bathroom. I mean, that is totally embarrassing. And I go to a public middle school, and there's a boy who followed my friends into the girls' changing room. He ended up getting in big trouble. But if this bill is passed, behavior like that will be accepted, and it will put
was hoping to be here this afternoon. He said a prior event that has gone late, so he's not able to be with us. So I'm going to dismiss everyone now. I'll be around for a little while to answer questions, but I know personally I've got a 12-year-old who has to go play a soccer game, which everyone else has similar commitments, so I'll forward this, you know. But thank you for coming and standing for our families. Yes. We appreciate it.
I guess we can start making our way down the stairs slowly.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. That's my pleasure, our pleasure. Thank you. Oh, I'm a supporter.
So I'm going to post this up on YouTube. I'm sorry it wasn't live.
Oh, that's fine.
But, you know, I think it was a good statement.
Yeah.
And made a statement. Still isn't.
So where did you come from?
I'm actually independent press.
Chen, can you wait? Thank you so much. So it will publish on the newspaper or website, right?
What I do is I put it up on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube.
Usually Valley Patriot picks up my stuff, but this is, you know, but pretty much I cover what happens in the city.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much. This is my daughter, Channy. My son,